Checking out the brakes on Steve's 72. Some little interesting findings here. All right, driver's side front rotor appears to be fairly fresh. At least freshly turned. You can see with all the surface rust. But it does have the proper wear groove in it, which is correct at the time. Now, Steve's been telling me about some noise he's been having. Under braking. And like a loom, you know. But first thing I found was these pads, even though they got plenty of material, the backing plate has come loose on the outer pad here on the front driver's side. You can see when they tried to put the anti-rattle, anti-squeak goo in there, they didn't get them stuck so good, did they? One issue I always have, and one thing I always see, is whenever it's a really thin, cheaper pad like this with a crappy backing plate, that always happens. They always come loose, then you have a rattle, then you have a drag, then you have a squeak. So we're going to pull that apart later on. I might get Steve a quote, and then once we have a full quote, we'll see what we're doing. Might be doing full brakes. But for sure, on the front, I want to do probably different pads, as I don't like this kind. I always like the ones that have the rubberized backing, especially for a car like this. It's a Cadillac. It's supposed to be quiet. So anytime you try to add schmooey to keep it quiet, well, that's just cutting corners. Anyway, moving on to the passenger side. So, Steve's 72. There's a little bit of play here. In that right front. Get this apart, take a look. Alright, got the wheel off. And it is at the hub that our little bit of play is at. It's not up in the ball joints or anything like that. Everything else is looking halfway decent over here. Good pad material. I mean, these are kind of cheesy pads, and the backing shims are a little iffy. But everything else looks pretty good. Freshly turned. You can see the machining marks still in the rotor. So we'll snug up that hub a hair and go from there. Right, this is the left rear. Everything in the left rear looks to be old. I know Steve told me that when he originally took these over somewhere to get done, I think it was somebody I respect greatly, so I would expect everything to be done pretty nice. And it is. I mean, it's just everything in here is kind of old, but the shoes themselves are very smooth, very nice. They're not worn at all. They have the correct groove in the center on the front. Everything looks really good. Even in the drum itself, it's been recently resurfaced. It's nice. It doesn't have any upsets, like you can't catch your fingernail on anything. So it's very nice. Well done. Well done. Passenger side rear. Get ready to take this drum off. See what we got in here. It's a little bit of scuzzy here, so I kind of want to see what we got going on. Alright, appears our little bit of scuzziness was old news. Shoes are looking mighty fine. Nice and smooth. Older Delco original replacement from the dealer, I'm assuming, back in the day. But everything looks good. Looks like the wheel cylinders have been recently rebuilt. Nice fresh rubber. No leaks. No nothing nasty. Drum looks good too. Alright, gonna put this baby back together. And then I'm gonna recommend just doing some front pads. and tightening up that right front, and we will be ready to go.